Chapter 1, we're going to be reviewing the U.S. court system, federal courts, and state courts. Throughout your textbooks, they're going to be discussing federal and state court system. This slide is going to show you the breakdown of the federal court system, which is going to be the United States Court of Appeals, and then you're going to look down through there on your left, and the United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. And then at the top, what you're going to see is the Supreme Court of the United States. So throughout your text, if you see the word court in a capital letter, that means that we're talking about a federal court. If you see it with a lowercase, that means that we're going to be talking about a state court. I want to give you some information about the U.S. Supreme Court because it's so vital in this course that you guys are taking. There's going to talk about case law, precedent cases. This is going to be determined by all courts, but especially the Supreme Court. There's 9 Supreme Court justices. They are nominated and approved. They will serve for life. We call them justices. If there's any other judge that is going to be on the federal or state level, we call them judges. However, we call the Supreme Court justices. Their jurisdiction is the United States. They are going to be in session starting the first Monday in October, and they go until the last Monday of the next year. Approximately 8,000 petitions are filed within the court in the course of a term. Some 1,200 applicants of various kinds are filed each year that can be acted upon by a single justice. This section of your textbook, Sources of Rights, is going to be a major player throughout this course. This is going to introduce you to your constitutional rights, your rights based upon statutes, case law, and precedent cases or court rulings. The rules governing criminal proceedings in the United States come from these 4 basic sources, which we're going to discuss in the next few slides. In this section of your book, we're going to be talking about constitutional rights, which is the most important part of criminal law when we're looking at it, especially criminal prosecution. The first 10 amendments of the Constitution are called your Bill of Rights. The most common that we're going to be using are going to be Amendment 1, Amendment 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then we also are going to discuss 14. So when you're reading down through these, it is very important to know 1 through 10 plus 14, but the ones that I listed are the ones that have the most precedent on law enforcement and the court system when we're talking about criminal prosecution. Not only do citizens have constitutional rights, they also have statutory rights. And these come from statutory laws, which are laws passed by legislation. For instance, in North Carolina, the General Assembly is where you can find our general statutes. Chapter 14 of those is where you're going to see criminal laws. These are laws that state that you can't murder somebody. You cannot rob a person. You can't break and enter. So these are actually laws that were passed and written down either at a federal level or state level. For this section, I wanted to go over how to brief a case. You're going to see this in several of your chapters, assignments. I'm going to ask you to research a case, a precedent case, normally from the Supreme Court, and then brief it. You can find the directions at the end of chapter 1. They start on page 25 if you have a regular textbook. If you have an online textbook, I realize that you might not have page numbers. However, if you go towards the end of your book or go to the table of contents and hit case briefs, I think that you'll be able to locate it. So these look a little scary and intimidating, but they're not. You are doing exactly what this slide says. You're going to read the case and you're going to break it down into segments. The next slide is going to show you how those segments are broke down. So when you do your case brief, I actually want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you're just going to fill it in. So you're going to look at the case title, whatever it is. Your book gives examples such as Map versus Ohio. So if your title is, or if your case that you're reading is Map versus Ohio, that's your title. You're going to put that in there. Your citation are going to be those numbers that are found or located behind that. So in this case, it's going to be 367 US 643, which what this means is that you can go and find volumes 367 of the United States report starting on page 643, and that it was decided in 1961. That is the citation for that. The year, that's the year that it was founded, so 1961. Then, when you start on number 4, you're going to give the facts of the case. What happened? 5, the issues or issue at hand. What was going on in that case? 6 is going to be the court decision. What did the court decide? Number 7, your book is going to tell you, is the most important because that's the holding section. That's going to say, did they affirm? Did they hold? Are they agreeing? Did the law change? So make sure that you focus on number 7 and really look at that. Your book's going to say that you can actually write it word for word, what the court stated. It's that important. And then the last one, number 8, is going to be the case significance. This is really your opinion and how it changed. Did the law change? Did policy change? How did we use this case to impact the criminal justice system?